Let's get right into it. So, you've got a business. You just bought a brand new drone, and you are totally pumped to take your content to the next level. It's a massive game changer, right? But hold on just a second before you launch that thing into the sky. You see, you aren't just snapping photos for fun anymore. The second you fly for your business, you are officially entering national airspace. The stakes jump up instantly, and there are some very specific federal regulations you absolutely need to have down cold. Here's the most crucial thing to wrap your head around right from the start. Transitioning from flying around your backyard as a hobby to flying for commercial purposes completely changes your relationship with the sky. You're not just a hobbyist anymore. Legally speaking, you are the operator of an aircraft. And since you're now sharing that airspace with everything from medical choppers to massive passenger jets, knowing your boundaries is literally non-negotiable. It's all about getting the job done while making sure everyone stays safe. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with getting your pilot license, move into the basic rules of flight, then cover protecting people and property, and finally, look at accidents and enforcement.
All right, Section 1, getting your pilot license.
I want you to pay close attention to a very specific term here, pilot in command. This concept is basically the foundation of all commercial drone regulations. When you have that remote controller in your hands, you are officially the pilot in command. That means you hold the ultimate authority, and yeah, you carry all the legal responsibility for that flight. If a sudden gust of wind catches your drone or the battery just decides to quit, the buck stops with you. It's your job to guarantee that your drone is never a threat to people, property, or other aircraft.
Okay, so how do you actually earn that title? The rules to become eligible are actually pretty straightforward. First off, you've got to be at least 16 years old. You also need to be able to read, speak, write, and understand English, since that's the universal language of aviation. But here's the big one. You have to pass an official aeronautical knowledge test. And no, this isn't just a quick online quiz you can breeze through. It's a formal exam that's going to test you on weather patterns, airspace classifications, the whole shebang. Acing that test is your literal key to unlocking those commercial flying privileges.
Moving right along to Section 2, basic rules of flight. 55 pounds. Keep that number in your head, because that is the absolute maximum weight your drone can be right at the moment it lifts off the ground. And here's a detail that catches a lot of people off guard. That 55-pound limit includes literally everything. The drone, the battery, that heavy cinema camera you rigged up, even the memory cards. If you put it on a scale and it hits 55 pounds or more, you are no longer in the small, unmanned aircraft category. And trust me, a whole new set of much stricter rules is going to apply. Next up, let's talk altitude. 400 feet above the ground is your invisible ceiling. You cannot cross it. But why 400 feet exactly? Well, generally, human-crewed aircraft, like passenger planes and standard helicopters, are required to stay at least 500 feet above ground level. So by keeping drones at 400 feet and below, regulators have basically built a 100-foot buffer zone. It's a safety cushion in the sky to make absolutely sure drones and airplanes never cross paths.
Then there's the speed limit. 100 miles per hour is the absolute fastest you can go. Now, realistically, most commercial drones used for things like real estate photography are never going to come close to that. But if you're working with highly specialized equipment or doing high-speed chases for video, you really have to watch your telemetry. Keeping your speed under 100 ensures you have the reaction time you need to dodge obstacles and keep the airspace safe.
Now, this next regulation gets misunderstood all the time. You are required to maintain a visual line of sight with your drone throughout the entire flight. What does that mean in plain English? It means you or a designated spotter standing right next to you has to be able to physically see the aircraft with your own two eyes. No binoculars allowed, and nope, staring at the video feed on your tablet definitely does not count. You have to be able to physically look up and see exactly where your drone is, its orientation, and if anything else is flying near it.
If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Human-crewed aircraft always, and I mean always, have the right of way. If you hear a helicopter coming in or you spot a crop duster way off in the distance, it is 100% on you to get out of their path. You have to yield, drop your altitude, or just land immediately. Never fly close to them, and absolutely never put a pilot in a position where they have to swerve or take evasive action because of your drone.
All right, moving into Section 3, protecting people and property.
The regulations actually break drones down into categories based on, well, how much damage they do if they fell on someone. Category 1 is for those super tiny, ultra-lightweight drones. We're talking under a half pound. With guarded blades so they can't cut anyone, they're pretty harmless. But categories 2 and 3, that covers your standard, much heavier commercial drones. You absolutely cannot fly those over people unless the manufacturer has submitted official safety declarations to the government proving the drone won't cause severe injury if it crashes. Oh, and it has to be specially labeled for that kind of flight too.
So what does this actually mean for your day-to-day work? Mostly, it just comes down to common sense restrictions. Unless you have one of those highly specialized, pre-approved drones, you cannot fly over open-air crowds, think concerts or a packed beach. You also can't fly over moving vehicles. Why? Just imagine a drone smashing into a car's windshield on the freeway at 60 miles an hour. The distraction alone could cause a massive pileup. If your job requires filming a moving car, it generally has to be on a closed-off set where everyone knows exactly what's going on.
Now, what about flying after the sun goes down? Because getting those gorgeous twilight cityscapes is amazing for business, right? Well, you are allowed to fly at night, but there's a pretty big catch. Your drone has to be equipped with flashing or strobing anti-collision lights, and they need to be bright enough to be seen from at least 3 miles away. It all comes back to safety, making sure other aircraft can easily spot you in the dark.
That brings us to our final part, Section 4, Accidents and Enforcement. Okay, so here's the exact protocol you have to follow if your drone goes down. Step 1, assess the situation immediately for any injuries or property damage. Step 2, evaluate how bad it is. If someone gets seriously hurt, like they need a hospital visit or lose consciousness, you are legally obligated to report the accident to federal authorities within 10 calendar days. That exact same 10-day rule applies if you cause property damage over $500. And listen to this detail, because it's crucial. That $500 applies to the property you hit. It does not include the cost of replacing your own broken drone.
Remember, your commercial license is a privilege, and you can absolutely lose it. Flying your drone in a careless or reckless way that puts people or property in danger is completely forbidden. Flying under the influence of alcohol or drugs? No way. It's totally illegal, just like driving a car. And you can't use your drone to drop objects if it creates a hazard for the folks down below. Breaking these core safety rules can land you some massive fines and completely revoke your license, shutting your business operations down for good.
Look, the big takeaway here isn't to be scared of the regulations, but to use them to empower yourself. When you understand your boundaries, you can operate your business with total confidence and professionalism. You know the weight limits, you know the altitude ceilings, and you know exactly how to keep people safe on the ground. Staying compliant removes the legal headaches and totally opens up your creative potential. So now that you know the rules of the sky, what incredible things are you going to capture next?
If you found this helpful or want to stay updated when this regulation changes, subscribe and support the channel. And if you need the full technical details on this CFR, click the link in the description below. See you next time.